Hello guys, welcome back to Danish Gaming, and in this episode I'm going to showcase my Danish deck. So as you can tell, the activation points is very high. This is pretty typical for the minor nations, as in minor as in compared to the larger nations such as the US and the USSR. So as usual, do bring in a armored CV, some resupply vehicles and an FOB. Now I brought in a fair bit of infantry because I find that the infantry over here is pretty decent and you should bring them in. I brought in some of these guys are the AA, good against the helicopters and aeroplanes. They are not amazing, but I guess they will do. These guys are fairly cheap, but it is their carriers that I like pretty much. These carriers have a longer range against ground and helicopters, so they are pretty much multi-purpose. So use them to protect your infantry, and these guys will be able to catch the attention of your opponent, I'm sure. Now, the other infantry over here, these guys form the main bulk of my infantry force. They have very good sort of ATGM power. You can see the accuracy of 12, AP power of 18. So place these guys in the forest, in the cities, and they should be able to impede any opposing push. And the dragon, I'm not sure to pronounce the name, these guys are pretty good as well, but they are less powerful as compared to these guys over here. So these guys might be able to support, but do not use them at important key points because they may be, and I think it's very likely that they will be overrun unless they are brought in large numbers. Alright, for the support, the only AA that is available, if I'm not mistaken, it is the Hawk. Now the Hawk is pretty good. The range against aircraft is 3,800 meters. That is pretty amazing. They should be able to take out any bombers, as in most of the bombers, before the bombers can reach them. For the reason that bombers typically have a range of about 3,000, slightly above 3,000 meters. So you should be able to outrange the bombers. But these guys are radar missile based. In other words, they will be taken out by seed aircraft. And seed aircraft have a typical range of above 4,000. So just be careful when you use your Hawks. Now the other key point is that the Hawks have a speed of 25 kilometers. These guys are slow. Do not leave these guys alone because they will be very, very vulnerable and you cannot move them fast. So never leave these guys alone. Keep them with infantry or your tanks together, and these guys will help you out. Now speaking about tanks, there is a very limited choice in terms of the tanks. So just bring in, honestly, just bring in whatever you want, but bring as much as you can. I would suggest that you bring the more expensive, or should I say the most expensive variant, because these guys have a front armor of 10, while the slightly cheaper variant have a front armor of 8. In other words, the sort of cheaper variant will get destroyed very easily by ATGM squads or ATGM vehicles such as the Conquer vehicles of the packed side, because the ATGM squads typically have a AP power of about, let's say, 16, 18 or 22. So just be wary, just be careful how you place these tanks because they are easily taken out. Bring as much as you can, overwhelm your opponent with numbers over quality, because I don't think you can win a 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 or even a 3-on-1 against a TADU unless you are able to flank and take up good positioning. Now speaking about recon, I brought in some infantry recon. These guys are pretty decent, I like them very much. I brought in a ground-based recon, and I brought in a Scout Defender. The Scout Defender is a helicopter recon, but these guys have a rocket with a range of 2,400. So they are pretty useful. I mean, if they can scout and they can take out infantry, give them a try. I like them very much. Now as you can tell, I brought in a lot of the vehicles because the tanks cannot deal much of the damage. These guys, I'm going to bring them out in force to sort of scare my opponents, but my main power punching through would be these ITOs or these tow vehicles. Just bring as much as you can. I brought in the most expensive ones. These guys have high AP power of over 20. I brought in the middle range ones, AP power 16, however the range is still very high. Now the lariat toes have a good range as well, but the difference between these guys and these guys is that the lariat toe does not have any armor at all, so do place them carefully. In fact, place them behind your front line of tanks. Alright, speaking about helicopters, the toe defender is again pretty decent. Bring one of them, not too much, just one of them should suffice, I would say. For a price of 45, AP power 16, definitely worth a bring in. Now for the planes, these guys have F-16s, they have starfighters. The starfighters have the 450 kg rounds. These are cluster bombs, so they are very effective over a wide range. And for the cheap price of 75, do bring them in. The F-16s are pretty much multi-purpose. They have a lot of bombs. You can tell that they have 12 227 kg rounds, so they can deal a lot of damage, I would say. However, I find that the range against planes is pretty lacking. 3000 meters is not too fantastic, so they have to go very upfront to the enemy plane. So if you do find that your enemy planes are flying far away from your own front lines, do not send the F-16s in, because they will get shot down by AA or enemy aircraft very easily. You might want to consider bringing the Drakens. These guys are good as well, but I'm concerned with the enemy aircraft, and what I can tell is that these planes cannot really do a dogfight with the enemy aircraft due to their short range, but use them as you see fit. I do not recommend bringing too much of these planes, just use them situationally and be careful with them. So just to summarize, this is my Danish deck, and in this build what I aim to do is I intend to use the infantry to capture the attention of my enemy, scare my enemy with the large number of tanks I'm going to bring in, while hiding the true power in my vehicles. These tools, these ATGM vehicles, are the true punching force of my deck. They have high ATGM power, so do use them wisely. I do not intend to bring in these planes a lot, but these guys are sure one heck of a bomber. They have a lot of bombs, a lot of big bombs and powerful bombs, so do use them to bomb the ground forces if you see any opportunity. One weakness of the deck that I would like to highlight is that the AA is very lacking. These guys are very slow, so although they can cover a large radius, but being very slow means that they cannot really move forward that quickly. You gotta position these guys well and keep them well protected with your infantry and well supplied with your supply vehicles. So do take care when you are using the Danish deck. It can be very potent, and if you have a teammate with you who can complement your strengths, such as your vehicles, and protect you from enemy aircraft, then this is one deck you should consider. Do give it a try, and do let me know how it is in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Signing out.